Okay, so today we're going to be looking at lesson 6 and 7 according to your notes, which is signal processing. And mainly we're going to focus on one of the 5 different types of signal processing. So what is, firstly, let's define what is signal processing. Signal processing is the capacity to manipulate a sound with an electronic device. So would you remember we spoke about sound control? We look at different way of controlling sound, electronically, acoustically, and relationally. So today we're just going to focus, from today on, we're really going to focus on controlling sound electronically. And there are 5 different types of way of controlling sound electronically. Okay, so I'm going to tell you all about all 5 of them, and then we're just going to speak about one today. And mostly we're not going to go any further in this course. The first type of processing is tone control by means of an equalizer, which enables us to change the timbre. Okay? You remember when we spoke about the harmonics? We had this whole discussion about the harmonics, and then we spoke about the timbre being the picture of a sound. Do you remember that whole discussion? So one thing that we mentioned that is the reason why timbre is so important is because if we can change it, we can actually change the way something sounds like. So today we're going to speak about this, which is tone processing, which is controlling the timbre. The second aspect of processing, or the second thing we can process electronically, is processing the intensity, which is by way of controlling the intensity. This is also referred to as dynamics. I don't know if are you familiar with this terminology, but in a mixer there can be dynamics or not. In an analog mixer, in a DAW, digital audio workstation, there is dynamics, which includes compressors and other stuff. In general, controlling the intensity is part of signal processing. An amplifier controls the intensity also. Okay, so this is the second thing we can alter the full control, is the intensity of a sound. The third thing is time processing, when we control time. Example, we spoke about loudspeakers, and we referred to a delay line last week. And the delay line is when we put 2 speakers further into the venue. So we have speakers close to the stage and then 2 speakers further into the venue. Now, how do we align those 2 speakers? Is by introducing delay, which is time, between the first set of speakers and the second. It means that the second speakers will be delayed so that they will receive the signal slightly later. The amount of milliseconds that the delay is applied is equal to the distance between the 2 speakers. Actually, it's not equal, but that's the departing point. Because the speed of sound is known, so sound travels at a specific speed, so we can figure out if there is 10 meters, it's about 3.4, it's about 34 milliseconds. It's about 3.4 milliseconds per meter, somewhere there, a bit less. Okay, so that's time processing, but there's more to time processing. There is other aspect, even, for instance, an aesthetic use of delay, which is, for instance, a repetition. You didn't get it. But anyway, you know what you hear in the songs? When you hear songs and there is a repetition of a specific word, that's time processing, which is a delay. The fourth aspect is routing, which is controlling the signal path, which is pretty interesting concept. We're going to look at routing next time. And this is also a very powerful tool. A lot of people don't understand it, but it's a very powerful tool in the hand of an engineer. The capacity to take a signal and to route it in many different outputs at the same time. So that's called routing. The last one is effects, which essentially it's adding, let's call it special effects, for the lack of a better word, for aesthetic reasons. One of them is the delay that just mimic. Others is reverberation or reverb, but there's far more. There is choruses, there is many other things. So there's the fifth way of processing, processing by way of adding sound effects which are created by the original sounds. Okay, not sounds effect like an extra door noise. Yeah, boom, not in that sense. Or sounds effect the rain. Okay, that's another type of sounds effect which has got nothing to do with processing. That's an adding of sounds. So the last five, the last one of the five is adding effects created by the original sound, like reverb and delay and so forth. Okay, so there are five. I repeat them: is tone control, is dynamic control or intensity control, is time, controlling time, is routing, controlling the signal path of a signal of a sound, and then the last one is effects. Okay, good. Now today we're going to first look at tone processing, which is essentially can be summed up as equalizing. So I would suggest you close your computers, otherwise you're going to get distracted. And we're just going to look at some important notion regarding the equalizer. So tone processing, the process of manipulating timbre or tone, is also referred to as equalization, to equalize something. Okay? To equalize something, we need a tool, which is called equalizer. So let's just quickly first define what equalization is, and then we look at what an equalizer is. Okay? And then we're going to describe all other things that pertains to an equalizer. And after that, we're going to do some practical exercises, which should hopefully help you to cement the understanding of an equalizer.